Hey, what's up, guys? It's Anthony, and I'm here to review the latest AAA title from Bungie, the people who made Halo, and Activision, the people who own the sole rights, Soul S-O-U-L, rights to Spider-Man. Now, I heard about this, and I didn't think these two would be very likely to work together and make some kind of grand shooting game. But I can't just, write it off because I hear Activision and Bungie are making the game, la-di-da. So I decided to give it a try, mostly because of the hype. There's so many people like, oh my god, Destiny's the greatest game in the world. Well, let's talk about how great Destiny really is, shall we? So let's start off with the story of Destiny. Once upon a time, the Traveler came to Earth, and for some reason, the Traveler gave humans all this knowledge so that they can triple their lifespans and expand their reach all the way out to the rest of the galaxy. Then, out of absolutely nowhere, these creatures or entity or something called the Darkness decided, hey, let's screw over all these humans, and it does just that. It pretty much wipes out human existence, except for a certain city where now people try to push the darkness back and reclaim what was once theirs. If that story sounded really vague and really bare bones, that's because that's all Destiny really gives you. Now, personally, I wouldn't mind playing a game with minimal story as long as it's fun. However, this game does something that I found downright insulting. And it did it within the first hour of you playing the game. You approach this person called I don't know, the Teller or something. I forget his name because he upset me so terribly. And he's the only person who can communicate with the Traveler and translate the Traveler's blurbs or however he communicates into words that we can understand. So he knows everything. He knows everything that's happened up to this point. He knows why your character was dead to begin with. By the way, he didn't seem too surprised. He's like, oh, I'm dead. Oh, well, let me just get up and shoot stuff. He knows all these things. Instead, he says, I could tell you all these things, but I'm not going to because these are children's tales and the children are scared. Or some bullshit excuse like that. So you're looking at this guy. Oh, I know everything you want to know, but I'm not going to tell you because right now that's not important. So you mean to tell me there is story and you're not going to tell me the story? Yeah, that's great storytelling. Yeah, get me curious about the story and then never, ever explain anything. There are so many questions that the story could answer, but it won't. Who are the Awoken? What is an Exo? What is the Traveler? What's keeping this city safe outside of the fact that it's, I guess, reviving people from the dead and giving them guns and say, hey, shoot for me because I told you to? What is the Darkness? Where did it start from? Who, how, what? There are so many questions. And the story never tries to answer them. Of course, there will be people who say, oh, well, there's more coming later. No, because you'll probably most likely have to pay for it. And to have a story in paid DLC is just asinine. What DLC should do is amplify the story, not tell the story. That is one of the most money-grubbing things I've ever heard. And people will defend this practice. Now, mind you, I don't say that I know Bungie and Activision enough to say this is exactly what they're going to do, but that's what it looks like they're going to do. It's what it looks like. They introduce characters with minimal backstory. They tell you a story with minimum details, and they tell us, oh, well, don't worry because we have a 10-year contract on this game. What are we supposed to think? That's the story. Let's just move on. All right, guys. Let's try and get into some more positive things about Destiny with the gameplay. The first thing I want to talk about is combat, which is probably my absolute favorite thing about this game. Combat in this game is so satisfying. You're so mobile. You can do things like you can run and slide and stab, or run, slide, shoot, or you can jump around and shoot. You can jump and stab. You never feel as though your character is stiff, and it's awesome. I can fight a horde of enemies, and I feel like I can take them all on by myself. But the real fun in playing Destiny is with playing with people. When you're like doing stories and you create a fire team, either with friends or people you just met in the tower, you are going to have a blast when you play this with people. They got your back. You never have to worry about some enemy creeping up behind you. Well, of course, this all assumes that your partner or partners know what they're doing. There will be times where you get, paired up with somebody who's like, I guess this is their first shooter and they can't aim to save their lives. But that's just what comes with the territory. Let's see. Doing missions with people is awesome. PvP is a little, I don't want to say busted, but it's a little uneven because you can end up fighting people who have level 24 and you're like level 5, and yeah, that's no contest. But for the most part, it does a pretty good job matching you up with people who are at least around your level. And my goodness, do level matters in this game. There are a lot of times you play a game and you can be level 5 and you face something that's level 7, and it's like, oh, I can take this. This is no problem, and you get rewarded for that. No, not here. Even if you fight somebody that's level 6 and you're level 5, you can have a tough time depending on the type of enemy. Heck, some enemy classes like the Knight at level 3 will give you problems at level 6, and it's pretty cool. I actually have no reason to complain about that. The challenge that this game can provide is pretty good, but sometimes the AI is a little stupid. You can be outnumbered, I don't know, like 16-1, and the enemy will either stand back and wait for you to approach them, like, oh my god, he's got a knife, or they'll run up to you and be surprised that the first thing you do is shank them. I mean, that's the enemy. But sometimes they're pretty smart. They will flank you. They will distract you. The AI can get pretty brutal when it wants to be. So that's combat and all the things I have good to say about, the gameplay. So let's get into the loot system, which is the biggest problem outside the story this game has. Oh my god, the loot system. It's so random. It's a random number generated based loot system. Now imagine this. You just beat, let's say, a level 25 boss, okay? Normally in video games, you get rewarded for things like that. You get rewarded with some awesome loot. You get, all types of great guns, and you get all types of great armor. Not here. You could very well get common stuff. Or for just completing a mission, you can get legendary stuff. It's all luck of the draw. And it kind of takes away from the motivation to want to beat the bigger bosses. I mean, why not just farm easier places and just wait to get, better loot? Why not do that? Whew. And if it ain't that, it's the crypt arc. There's a lot of words that are made up that I don't remember. Forgive me. But I think they're called the cryptographs. You can take those to the crypt arc, and he will give you items at random. You get something that's a legendary colored cryptograph. I'm sorry. You take it to him. Oh, here's this uncommon. Here's your hard work. You get an uncommon. Yay, you clap clap. And yeah, that'll be the end of that. That's funny to me, but it's a really busted thing to know that you can do all this work to get all this legendary loot, and it all ends up for absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. And you are left like, oh my god, this is the most frustrating thing ever. And then you have to grind and grind and grind and grind and grind. This game is a giant grind fest. Now, if you love playing this game and you don't mind that, fine. If you don't, well, my last gripe about the gameplay is how poorly it explains itself. A lot of people believe that the level cap was level 20. That is not true. Because after that, you can get light levels based off armor you grab that gives you more light experience. I don't know how that's supposed to work, but the game doesn't really tell you much about it. There are people who can walk around level 28 because of their equipment. And I personally I don't know if how much I agree with this system, only because, when we heard about this game, we're supposed to have characters that are fully customizable. We can make them look however we want. But now we have equipment that has certain amount of points that if you want to be stronger, you have no choice but to wear this or that. And it may look like the ugliest piece of crap ever and you hate it, but you got to wear it if you want to be level 28 or level 29, especially for the raids and the strikes that are suggested at least level 25. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about the gameplay. I know it's a lot, but this game needs to explain a lot too. So yeah, let's just move on to the next portion. All right, so the last portion we're going to talk about is the audio visual. Now, as far as the visual, it's going to depend on what system you play on. As I have seen, the best looking one is probably for the PlayStation 4. Of course, that's debatable. Let's not get into that. The footage you're watching right now is from the PS3, which is still pretty gorgeous to look at. I mean, all the environments look great. The music is very atmospheric and makes even, the dullest gunfights seem like one epic standoff between you and the enemy. And that's a good thing. That's great. Not a lot of games can make boring things seem exciting. And the music here does just that. My only issue is with the voice acting from one of the characters that you go through with, throughout the entire game, and that's the Ghost. If you didn't know, that is the voice of Peter Dinklage, who is, as everyone should know, Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Now, when I hear that, I think, oh my god, this is going to be the best voice acting ever. And it's not terrible, but the tone is like, are you being sarcastic to me, or are you just a jerk? Do you not care about the mission? The tone of what is, the tone of the Ghost in the game is just kind of like, I don't know if you want to be here, man. I mean, and if you don't, you're the one who revived me, so we're in this together. And I don't know. I don't care for the Ghost and his banter. And maybe it's because the script. Maybe it's just because he was like, you know what, just take these lines over the phone and just do what you want with them. Other than that, this game's audio visual, I can't say too much bad about it outside of what I've just said. I would really love this soundtrack. I would love it to just play video games with. Some of these games could use a soundtrack like this. So, there you go. Whew, so here we are at the conclusion. Man, I don't know what I expected from Destiny when I got my hands on it. It certainly wasn't what I played. And I want to iterate to you guys that playing the game is fun if you can overlook A, how big of a grind fest it is, B, the incredible lack of story, and C, how much of a jerk the Cryptarch is. I mean, seriously. Can you just give me the legendary loot? Can you, guy? For these reasons, I gave Destiny a C+. It's certainly playable and it's certainly fun, especially with friends. But you will have more headaches than good times when you play this game because, let's face it, we're all used to the system. I do this incredible feat, I get handsomely rewarded, as opposed to I do this incredible feat and I might get handsomely rewarded if I'm lucky, or my teammates all got legendaries and all I got is a few credits. I mean, it's really disappointing and disheartening to those who aren't as grind heavy as other purists who will play this game for 2, 3, 4 hours a day just to get that one piece of legendary loot that they deserved the first time they did that momentous feat, like beat the giant boss or something. So there you have it. That's my score for Destiny. You're welcome to disagree because I know there are a lot of people who think this is the greatest game in the world. I respectfully disagree with you. But should you want to join my fire team, let's go. Let's play. I'm willing to. As long as I don't have to pay for more story. All right. See you guys later.